Hi everybody, welcome to my live. Thanks for joining. My name is Laura Rodrick. I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator in San Antonio, Texas. Today is Tuesday. It's August 23rd, 2022, and we're live just around 7 p.m. Thank you for joining, either live, on the replay, on YouTube. I appreciate you watching tonight. We're going to make some really fun cards. I'm excited about this set of cards that we're going to make. They're fun, they're colorful, and I think they're useful cards too. So we're going to get started in just a minute. Let me just make sure I'm coming up on Facebook. I can see that. Okay. Looks good. All right, so I think we'll get started, get right down to it. I'm going to turn my camera. So I noticed when I was setting up tonight, my camera, I think I stripped the little thing behind the camera that keeps it from tilting and wobbling. So I hope I can get it to work. It was just a really inexpensive camera holder, so I may have to get a new one before next week. But fingers crossed for tonight that the camera stays still. So let's see what we can do. I'm going to turn it down. I guess plastic isn't the best for tightening things because it's easily stripped. So give me 1 second just to try and get it a little bit tight and a little bit straight here. And I hate to be too far down. Let me try and move it just a little bit more. Sorry, just bear with me for a second because I want to make sure that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, I think that's good. All right. If you jump on tonight, say hello. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about, and I'll just make this really quick, is I am offering a card class. It's called the Hues of Happiness card class, and it's going to be a really fun card class. I'm going to do the live on September 20th. I'm taking orders for the card class now. So if you're interested, just send me an email, sunshineandsparklestamping@gmail.com, and just say you'd like some information about the class or you'd like to purchase the class, and I'll get you set up and send you an invoice. It includes all the stuff needed to make these 3 pretty cards. So this is with Hues of Happiness. And I think these are really, really pretty cards. It's a nice stamp set. It's a nice die cut set. The paper is beautiful. The fonts are really nice. And we're also going to make a gift bag. In addition to that, I'll be sending you over $15 worth of Stampin' Up product. So it's a really good deal. The price includes shipping. So it's $38. That's $30 plus $8 shipping, includes tax. So if you're interested, shoot me an email and I will get that. I'm going to close it August 31st. So that's next week. And that gives me time to get the cards cut and shipped out. Hey, Tiffany, how are you? Thanks for joining me. All right, so tonight's cards, we're going to use a set out of the mini catalog. And this is the Perched in a Tree set, and it's a really beautiful stamp set. And I had been eyeing this stamp set, and I thought, oh, I really like this. I love birds. I love trees. I'd really like to have this. And then when we're doing Celebration, which is this catalog right here, they added more things to the Celebration. So these are free products that you can earn with $50 or $100 purchase. So one of the things that was free was this Aspen tree die set that goes with the Perched in a Tree stamp set, and I got that for free. So then I was like, yes, I'm definitely getting it because I get the dies for free. So we're going to have fun tonight. We're actually going to use several items from the Celebration, all of which I got for free. We're going to use a piece of the DSP from this Rings of Love right out of the Celebration catalog. In addition, the additional items that they added, we're going to use the Timber Embossing folder, the Aspen tree dies, the craft gift boxes, and the brushed metallic cardstock. So a lot of different things for free that we're going to use this evening. So these are our projects for tonight. We have this pretty, and I didn't realize when I first was making these, but I kind of made a project for each season. So that kind of worked out well. So this to me is kind of a summary card. This is Your Kindness Warms My Heart, and we're going to color the little birds. We're going to do this spring card, which is Wishing You Abundant Peace and Joy, and that's that DSP I was talking about. We're going to make it a little bit Christmassy, and the sentiment says, "Let heaven and nature sing." And then we're going to do kind of this fall gift box that I've put a couple cinnamon rolls in. I think that'd be a really nice gift for somebody. So let's get started on our projects right away, and we'll have some fun. Okay, so here is the set, Up Close and Personal. Here's the stamp set. Here's the die set. In addition, for the first card, I cut the labels out of this Deckled Rectangles die set. So you can see I used 2 different sizes of the Deckled Rectangles and just used the dies to cut those out. Okay, so here are our pieces for the first card. And I'm going to just use this piece of basic white, these pieces for doing some stamping. We have our card base, and we're using Calypso Coral cardstock, and I love this color. It's just really, really pretty. And we're starting with our standard card base, 8.5 by 5.5, and we've scored it at 4 1/4. So our card base is ready to go. Our other pieces, these are those 2 pieces I showed you from the Deckled Rectangles that are cut out. And let me just check, did I make those the right size? Yes. Okay. In addition, we're going to do a little background with this piece of Mossy Meadow, which is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. Okay, and then I used the Very Vanilla cardstock, and this is 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 by 4, and then I used the die to cut this out. So let me just show you. This die is amazing. I just love it. It's nice and big. So you can see how I just put it on my piece of paper, run it through my die cutting machine, and it cut out these beautiful, I think this is aspen tree dies. To me, it looks kind of birchy, and I just love it. I think it's so pretty. So that's what I did to get that piece. So we're going to do some stamping next. We're going to stamp in Memento Black because we're going to do some coloring. We're going to start by stamping one of the birds. It's a cute bird. I like this bird. It gives lots of coloring opportunities. So I'm just going to stamp that right on my white. And then I'm going to take the branch that the bird's going to be sitting on, and I'm going to stamp that also on a piece of basic white. So I'll ink that up in Memento. Then we're going to do a little bit of coloring on that. And while I've got my Memento pad out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment. And I'm using Your Kindness Warms My Heart. And that's this one right here. Aren't these beautiful fonts? I love the font on this. And I'm going to try and get this right in the middle. Okay, so we've got that ready to go. Now let's do some coloring and die cutting. We're also going to do a little bit of heat embossing later, so that's fun. Okay, so for the base of my bird, I've kind of gone to one of my favorites, and this was before they had all the new naturals colors came out, the kind of the skin tones. This was always my go-to, and this is the these are the alcohol markers, right? So this is the bronze and ivory set. So that's what we're going to use to go ahead and color our birds. I prefer the brush tips when I do this, so I'm just going to open both of them up, and we'll just start the coloring. So I'm going to do the bottom half of the bird, and I'm just going to work in kind of small sections so the ink doesn't totally dry up, so I can do a little bit of blending. Okay, so I've got my ivory down. Then I'm just going to accent a little bit with the bronze, kind of in the same shadow areas that they've already stamped out for you. It makes it nice and easy, right? So, and then I'm going to go back over with my ivory and kind of blend it in so it looks nice and blended. And then I'm going to move on to the next section of the bird. And then I decided to do the upper part of this bird in Calypso Coral, so I'll be using the Calypso Coral blends for that. Now you don't have to go exactly, you can kind of color your bird however you want, make any colors you want, do any shading that you want. It's kind of fun to play around and experiment with how you want it to look. But these markers are great, these blends, because they do just what they say. You can just blend them in and they're just really nice to work with. And I think they look nice when they're finished. Okay, so that's all we're going to do for that. But while I have these markers out, I'm going to go ahead and add some color to this branch. Same thing, starting with the light color, the ivory. And I'm just going to go all along. See if I can stay in the lines while I'm coloring so fast. I like the tip on this. It's really nice. And then I'm just going to go along and add a little bit of dark to the branch and then kind of blend it in a little bit. Okay. All right, that's all we're going to do for the branch. I'm going to put these away and go ahead and get out my Calypso Coral blends. And we'll just do the upper part of the bird. And we'll start with the light here. It looks like it's an absolutely gorgeous night tonight in San Antonio. It's 89 degrees, which, oh my goodness, 80s are amazing. So happy for 80s. After, how long did we have 100-degree heat for? It was crazy. Now we're getting some nice normal summery temperatures, which is beautiful. And it's just sunny and gorgeous out. It's just beautiful out right now. I think I'm going to go sit outside for a little while when I'm done here. Just enjoy the weather. Okay, so I'm just doing the same thing that I did with the other colors and just kind of blending in our feathered friend here to make her look real pretty. Okay. And that's pretty much it. So I did take our light pumpkin pie blend, which is just a kind of a light orange, just to add a little bit of color to the beak. So I'm just going to add that. It's very subtle. You can't hardly even tell. And a little bit to the legs right here. Okay, so our bird is finished. Our branch is finished. We're going to go ahead and die cut this out. I'm going to cut down, before I send it through my die cutting machine, I'm just going to cut down my piece of cardstock to make it easier to go through. And I think I'm going to use my mini. And let me get my dies out. And so before I send it through, I'm going to line it up. And again, you guys know how I always rave about the dies. They're so nice. Saves you a lot of time trying to fussy cut something out. So I'm just going to line that up and add just a little piece of Post-it tape. If I can figure out how to get this new one going. Don't you love that when you can't find the beginning of the tape? It just goes around and around. Okay. So let me just add my piece of tape there. Do the same thing with my branch, and then we'll just put it on the die cutting machine and send it through. And this one, you can see the little, can you see the little dots here that they have here? So you can still see where the little branch points line up, and that kind of helps you line up your branch. And I think that looks pretty good. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tape that down and get my plates set up. So I've got 2 plates there. I think I'm gonna send these through one at a time. It only takes a second, so, whoops. Okay, hold on, I didn't do that right. I was trying to sneak it through without it fully lined up. And my plates are getting a little bit warped. That means I use them a lot, right? Okay, so there's that one. Let's send the bird through. And then I think we're going to be ready to start assembling our card. Okay. All right. Let me just pull this out. There's our bird. There's our branch. And we are good to go. Now, in this background right here that I did, I wanted to add a little bit more to it than just have it the Mossy Meadow green. So I took a little bit of the same color stamp pad in Mossy Meadow, and one of the stamps are these little dots. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp the background with some of these dots. So that'll show through when we put the trees over it. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. That's all we're going to do for that. The other thing is we're going to take the tree piece that we cut out, and we're just going to add a little bit to this as well. So what I did is I took the blend that we just used in the ivory, and I'm just going to color in, see where it's kind of indented, a little bit embossed. I'm just going to color in some of those, kind of messy, right? Just to add a little bit to the tree. I mean, it's beautiful the way it is. It really is. Just the ivory color with the embossing that you can see on it. But I'm just adding a little bit of that. And then I thought I'm also going to add, to make it kind of look birchy, right? I'm going to take one of the sponge daubers, and I'm going to use a little bit of crumb cake ink. And I'm just going to dab a little bit here and there, kind of onto the trees, just to add a little something extra to them, so they're not quite so stark. That's it, just like that. Okay, let us start assembly. All right, so I'm going to first take the card base, and I'm going to take the background that we just did, the background piece in Mossy Meadow, just add a little bit of seal to it, and stick this down right in the middle. And you can see it's leaving a little bit, this one was cut a little bit smaller so you won't see the edges once you put the ivory over it, okay? And I didn't really pop any of this up. I'm just doing seal. I could have popped this up, but I didn't. So let me just add some of the seal, and then I'm going to center it so the edges are even and the green is showing through. Okay, not bad. All right. Now the next thing I'm going to do is take some linen thread, and we're going to just wrap some around. Right like this. I'm going to just take some here, and I'm going to go around 3 times on the card. Uh-oh, hold on. My pin's getting in the way. Hold on, we have a knot situation. Okay. Kind of messed up this. Did you ever do that? You start like in the wrong spot for your spool of something? I think that's what I did on this one. I started on the wrong spot, so that's why I'm a little bit tangly. And I've been using my other one, but now that one's almost all gone because I've been using it a lot. So I did order some more, but it's not coming until the weekend. All right, and we'll cut this off, and then we're just going to tie a bow. Let me just kind of move this over to the side, and then we'll just tie it right up here. Hopefully you can see that. Sometimes when I'm using linen thread, I'm going to tie a knot first to kind of keep it kind of tight, and then I'll tie my bow afterwards. So that's what I'm doing here. It just makes it a little bit easier for me. Okay. Just tighten this up a little bit so it's a little bit smaller. I think that's good. So there we have just a little bit of an accent on the side, right, with the twine, which I think looks nice. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some glue. I'm going to use the Tombow for this because it's a little bit too skinny for my seal. I'm going to end up getting seal all over my workspace if I do it. So let me get my Tombow started for tonight. And we'll use a little bit of that. This is really a great glue. Now, as you guys know, I'm not that good with glue. I tend to get it all over my fingers. But this glue, if you're like doing boxes or sealing things, it's nice because you can position it and then it is a strong seal. It works really well. I'm just not that good with liquid glue, so I try and avoid it whenever I can. So I'm just going to slide this tree branch right here and bring it across right like that. Okay, the bird I am going to pop up with some dimensionals. We'll just add a few dimensionals here. Peel those off. And we'll perch this bird right about here. Okay. All right, I'm going to pop this piece up onto this piece of Calypso Coral. So everything coordinates. We have the nice background card base in Calypso Coral. We've colored our bird Calypso Coral. Now we have this other piece right here. So everything coordinates and looks really nice. And then we'll just use some seal on the back of this and put it right in the corner of our card. And then I think the last thing we're going to do is go ahead and add some rhinestones. I have these champagne rhinestone basic jewels, and these are carryover from last year, and I think they're just gorgeous. Like, they're the perfect color for fall. I plan to use these in a lot of the fall cards this year. So I'm just going to add some different size of those, kind of some up here and a couple of the little ones down here. And that's it. That is our nice summery bird card. What do you guys think? Do you like this card? All right, card number 1 finished. All right, let me clean up for a second and let's go on to the next card. So the next one we're going to do is the one that I'm calling the spring card. Okay, we're going to use our bird friend again. And we've used a couple different things on this one. This time I brought in these fabulous frames dies that I use periodically. We're going to use these in a couple ways tonight. But as you can see, I use this die right here to cut out from the Night of Navy, this background piece, and then it also cuts out the piece inside. So I cut it out twice, once in Night of Navy, once in basic white. And then I took my piece of basic white and I sent it through the machine with this timber embossing folder, and this is one of the celebration items that you can get free with a $50 purchase, and it embosses this nice wood grain finish. So let us get the pieces out for this card now. Okay, this card, basic card base like we have in the Night of Navy. I've got some crushed curry cardstock, 5 1/4 by 4. That'll be the first layer. This is that Rings of Love DSP, and I have cut this one to 5 by 3 3/4. That'll be the next layer onto the card. And then we're going to do some more stamping. So let me bring my other pieces here so we can stamp. I'm going to bring back my scrap of white. We're going to stamp and color another bird. So again, using Memento for my bird, right like that. And we're going to stamp our sentiment on just a scrap of crushed curry. And this time we're going to use Wishing You Abundant Joy and Peace. So that's this one right here. And we're just going to do that in Memento as well. And I'm just going to put that right in the center because we're going to cut around that. Okay, this time, and I would also do a branch. Okay, I've done a little bit of this in advance. Same thing we did before, same colors we did before. So we have the branch already die cut. I just want to show you how I colored this bird. So for this bird, I went ahead and used, even though there's a lot of crushed curry in the background of that DSP, I went with the Daffodil Delight. So I have light and dark of the daffodil. And I just did the belly of the bird that way, same way that we did it before. And you can see my daffodil blends are getting really dry. I have used the heck out of this color. So I just ordered another set of this because, like I said, I used it a lot. I think last year with the, in the spring around Easter, I used it a lot. And yellow, a good basic yellow is a good color to have, right? So I'm just adding a little bit of dark on the bottom, and then I'm just going to blend this in. And that's all I did for the yellow part right there, okay? Then the next, I used 3 different colors for the top of the bird. I used the light and the dark of the balmy blue. Where's my other one? But as you can see, these are both pretty light, okay, even the dark one. So then I brought in a little bit of the light Night of Navy, just to add a little bit darker blue to coordinate with the card a little bit. So this time I'm going to start, well, let me start down at the bottom again, as usual. And I'm just going to fill this in with some of the light. Then I'm going to add a little bit of the darker accents to this. And so you can see, if you look at it right here, it's just very, very light, right? And I felt like I needed a little bit of dark on this bird to kind of match the other birds. So now I'm adding a little bit, not too much. I don't want to overdo it with this darkness, but I'm just adding a little bit. Then I'm going to blend it in with the light again to make sure it kind of gets blended in. Okay. Now let's go ahead and do the next section. And this part I'm going to keep mostly in the light color, not as dark as the wing, but I will add some dark accents. If I can stay in the lines, I know I'm in a hurry. Okay, and just add a little bit of this, and then just a little bit of the dark. Okay, and our final blending, and then I'm going to do the same thing I did before and just do a little bit of pumpkin pie, and just on the beak and the legs again. And that little guy's done. That doesn't take very long to color these, right? It goes pretty quick. So if you wanted to do a lot of them, it doesn't take that long. You can just line them up and color them all. Okay, those also get die cut. Now, in order to save time, I've already die cut these out, so you don't have to watch me die cut again. All right, lastly, what I do want to show you, though, is how beautiful the embossing is. So here is our little piece that I cut out with the die of the basic white. I'm going to put it in the embossing folder, and it has a nice little line, so you can line it up to make sure it's kind of straight, although I don't think you'd really tell with the curvy lines of the wood grain, right? And then I'm going to use my big machine. Let me clear a spot to send my embossing folder through. It's obviously, it's too big to go into the mini machine, right? So I have to use my big one. So let me get my plates for that. I'm going to take the fold of the die and send that through first. So this way first. Put my top plate on and just roll it through. And this crank's nice and easy. As you can see, I'm just using, well, I don't think you can see because I'm kind of off camera, but I am just using 2 fingers. And that's it. Okay. Okay. Hi, Pam. Thank you so much. Thank you for saying that about this card. So look how that came out. Isn't that awesome? This is one of my favorite embossing folders. I just think that it's just so pretty. I love embossing. It just really makes a plain piece of paper into something fancy, right? Okay, let's go ahead and assemble. First layer of crushed curry we're going to put down onto the card base. All right, then we'll take the DSP piece and put that down. Whoops. Still not quite holding this at the right angle. I forget. All right, we'll center that one too. Then we're going to put these pieces on. So I'm going to put this one centered right in the middle, right like that. And then we'll put the frame around it. And I think this time I'm going to use the Tombow for the glue too, because I've got some bigger spaces at the top. So I can add a little bit there. And then I'll add a few dots on the side to kind of hold it down. Okay. All right. Now we've got that all framed out. Let me just hold it down for a second. We're going to add some more glue to our tree branch. And run that right across. Press that down for a second. We're going to pop up our bird. And I guess kind of the bird, we did an okay job of matching that up to the paper, right? Okay. This little guy's perched up here too. Now for our sentiment, what I did was I just took this piece and I'm just going to cut around it. So I'm just going to leave an edge and see if I can neatly cut around the letters. I didn't want to, I felt like using something too big, like a big rectangle, kind of took away from the frame and stuff that I had. So I thought I'm just going to cut it down a little bit so it's not taking up as much room on the card. Now you could absolutely use one of your die cut frames, cut this part off, and you know, cut out a pretty frame around it and use it that way. I just kind of wanted it to be a little bit smaller. Okay, again, doing this quickly and kind of messy. Let me see if I can fix this part up just a little bit. That got a little bit messy. Whoops. I don't want these little corners on here. I want it to be a little more rounded. Okay. All right, that's it. We're going to pop this piece up on the card, and then we're going to add some more of those same pretty dimensionals. And they kind of pick up the colors from the tree branches, right? So I'm going to put this up here towards the top, and then we'll add some more rhinestones to this card as well. Whoops. It's almost time for me to put a new putty refill on my Take Your Pick tool that I use constantly. Lots and lots of rhinestones. Okay, card number 2, all finished. Now you've got a dark card base, so you'd want to put something on the inside, right? Maybe a piece of just basic white. And then you could put a little piece of DSP at the bottom, or do a little stamping. You could put another bird inside, or some kind of sentiment, or you could just leave it white blank and just write your greetings and handwrite your note to somebody. All right, that's card number 2. Now, card number 3, I thought, let's get a little fancy and shiny, and we'll do a little bit of a Christmas theme. So I've used one of the Christmas papers, and I'll show you what that looks like. This pack, I am already in love with this pack, you guys. Okay, so this is called Lights Aglow, and it is beautiful patterns, and you can see like everything in here is has gold embossing on it. So the one side is embossed, the other side is not. Green Christmas trees, just beautiful patterns, all embossed with the gold. I can't wait to use this all season and make all kinds of pretty things with it. So I used 2 different pieces from this. I used this for the background behind the trees, and then I used this pretty little snowflake pattern that's on the cherry cobbler. So those were the 2 pieces I used for this card. Okay, so let's get out our pieces. I also, for this one, I liked the way the stitched rectangle fit this particular sentiment. So as you can see from my stitched rectangle dies, I just used this die cut right here, and I cut that out of Cherry Cobbler. All right, so here's the pieces for this one. And I love the way that these cut in the gold. Okay, so Cherry Cobbler card base, usual size, 8.5, 5.5, square to 4 1/4. Cherry Cobbler. The next layer is that DSP I showed you, and I cut this piece down to 5 1/4 by 4. That's going to be the layer that goes behind. This one, actually I lied. That's not what it is. I cut this a little bit smaller. So I believe this is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. Okay, so it's just a little bit skinnier than the next layer is going to be that's going to go over it. So this is the one that's 5 1/4 by 4, and we use the die. This is the brushed metallic in the gold. And look how pretty that looks in the gold cut out, right? So that's going to be that. And then I took that same paper, DSP that had like the snowflakes that I showed you, and I used the other frame from the frame set that I showed you earlier. So this other frame right here, and I used that to cut the DSP, and I made a beautiful little snowflake frame that we're going to put on this card. Okay, so those are all the layers for that. I've got the rectangle that I showed you, and then it also comes with a bunch of different leaf dies. So there's the big aspen tree leaf and some small ones. So this one I did an evening evergreen, soft succulent, and again from that beautiful metallic gold. Okay, so those are the leaves that I cut out. The other thing for this card is our friend the bird again. So I would stamp that on a piece of basic white. Let me see if I have a little piece. And I used my other piece pretty good. Let's just flip it over. Nope, can't do that. Hold on. I've got plenty of basic white, so let me just cut a piece. And if you don't want to see me color another bird, just fast forward through this part if you're not live. And then I've already die cut one in advance, so you won't have to watch me die cut that again. But same thing we did before with our bird. I just want to show you the colors that I used for this little guy this time. Okay. And this is the last one we're going to do with the bird. Y'all sick of the birds already? You're like, oh my gosh, 3 birds in a row. So, ivory, bronze, same thing we did before with the bottom of our bird, right? Also, did not use a branch this time. We're just going to put some of those big leaves behind it. Okay. So the bottom of the bird is the same as the first one we did, right? Just the ivory blends and the bronze blend. So that's exactly the same as the first bird. And we'll just add a little bit of shading. And that's all we're going to do for this part of our bird. Just try and get this blended in a little bit better. Okay. And then this time for the top of the bird, because we want to coordinate again, right? We did Cherry Cobbler, which, you know, I think traditionally cardinals are a Christmas bird, but I think this bird is too fat to be a cardinal, right? And definitely not the right shape, but I thought let's do a little bit of red anyway. So this is Cherry Cobbler blends, and looks kind of dark going on, right? And I don't think this is the dark one. Here's the darker one that we're going to add, right? But I think it looked nice, and I don't know, it just reminded me of Christmas with a little, even though it's not a cardinal, still reminded me of Christmas bird. Okay, this one, because it's darker, you can see where I'm coloring out of the lines, right? And making my mistakes. I can't go as fast on this one. And add a little bit of dark right here. Blend it in, and there's our last bird. All colored in. Same thing again, the pumpkin pie I use just for the beak of the bird, and that kind of blends in too. You can't see it that well, and a little bit for the feet. And that's it. That bird is colored. Let me get my blends closed up so they don't dry out. And I've gone ahead and die cut that one already for us. So that one's ready to go. And we can start assembling our layers. So let us start with the DSP. Both sides of this paper are really pretty. Okay. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with our gold. Put some seal around the edges. I love using a lot of gold on Christmas cards. Okay. There's our pretty gold trees. You can see the sparkle in the background from that DSP. I think that looks really pretty. Let's put our frame around, and I'm going to use my Tombow glue again for the frame. So we'll just put around the edges. Just like this. Not bad with the glue tonight so far. I haven't glued my fingers together yet, so that is good. And then this will just be on the inside of the frame. Now, it's just a little bit small to cover up perfectly, right? So I've got it towards the top, but as you can see, a little bit's going to show through on the bottom because it's not quite big enough to cover up the top and the bottom, but that's why I decided to put the sentiment there. So, speaking of that, let's go ahead and put our sentiment on here. So we're going to emboss this in gold, and we've got our little stitched rectangle. I'm going to get my Versamark stamp pad out. And this time we're going to do Let Heaven and Nature Sing, which I think is a really beautiful Christmas sentiment. It seems really appropriate, right? I'm going to pull this down. I know, I'm sorry, you probably can't see it that well, but I need to get it lined up on here. Then I'm going to take my gold embossing powder. If y'all don't have embossing powder, you really should get some because it really makes things, I think, look nice, stand out, and it's just so easy to do. All right, so we've put our powder on there. I'm going to get out my heat tool. Before I do that, let me get out my little tweezer tool because this is a small piece and I don't want to burn my finger with my heat embosser. So we'll get embossing here. And it really doesn't take long either. Heat embossing is pretty quick. But I think it adds that special something, especially when you're using something like gold or metallic. As you can see, it's starting to turn already. Okay. That is it. That came out good, right? Isn't that pretty with the embossing on there? Okay. So let's put our leaves down. I'm going to start by taking this Evening Evergreen and I'm just going to set it right across here. And these dies are beautiful because they also not only cut, but you can see how they emboss the veining of the leaf. And it looks really pretty, I think. Okay. Next, I'm going to take the gold one. If I can get it out from underneath here. It kind of slipped underneath my stand. Hold on. Let me get my thing. There we go. And I'm also going to use a little bit of seal on this gold leaf. I'm going to have that pointed just a little bit different direction. And then my last one Uh-oh, hold on. I think I lost my last leaf. It's missing. Anybody see where I went? There it went, under the bird. All right, I'm gonna pop this one up. And this one I'm gonna kind of point down a little bit. Just like that. And then we'll pop our bird up and our sentiment up. Now the other thing I'm adding to this card is some gold ribbon. It's gold shimmer ribbon. And again, this was carryover from last year. I was so in love with this ribbon last year, and it kept going on back order and you couldn't get it. So I feel like this year I'm gonna stock up because it was one of my absolute favorite ribbons. It's just got such a beautiful sheen. It's so pretty. Okay, and I'm gonna position this over that piece that was the gold that was showing. As a matter of fact, I want this a little bit underneath that leaf. Let me see if I can get this lined up good, like right there. Looks good. And then we're gonna add our bow as our final piece to this. So look how pretty this ribbon is. It's so shiny. It's easy to work with. It just feels really nice when you're tying it. So I'm just going to tie a bow with that. I plan to use this a lot for Christmas too, especially with all those coordinating papers that have all that gold embossing on them. I think we're going to make some really fun Christmas cards this year. Okay, even that out a little bit. And cut off the ends. Then I'm going to use a glue dot to attach that to my card. I was a little wasteful with the ribbon there. Sorry about that. My glue dots are a little bit what I call backwards. I don't like them this way. So what I'm going to end up doing is unrolling the whole roll of glue dots and re-rolling it up the other way so they're facing the direction that I like them. I'm just going to put the bow underneath our bird. And that's kind of our Christmas bird card. Very shiny and sparkly. I hope y'all like that one. Okay, last project. Again, this is a project with a free celebration item. And these are the craft gift boxes that come from Stampin' Up. And this time we're just gonna, it's kind of fallish, right? We're gonna use some more of that ribbon. We're going to do a little bit of embossing again with the heat embossing with gold. We've got some die cuts with the metallics. And what I chose to put in this box, I found that 2 of the honey buns from Little Debbie fit in there perfectly. So we'll go ahead and use those. So these boxes are really awesome because they're already pre-scored, right? They have the nice clear window on them. They already have the adhesive tape on them, so they're very easy to use. So before we start folding ours up and assembling our box, I do want to do a little heat embossing to the actual box. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to get out my stamp cleaner and clean off that stamp that we used before with the dots on it, because that's what we're going to emboss on this package. Now, you can do it, I'm going to kind of do it off to the sides, and it can go down the side if you want. If you don't like the look of it, if you just want it to be on the front, take a little bit of the Post-it tape and mask it off so it doesn't get on the sides of your box, right, when you're doing it. So I'm just going to add a little bit of Post-it tape along the edges just to kind of mask off the areas that, that I don't want. And I think it looks fine going down the side of the box too. I think that looks really nice. But I'm going to mask it off just to show you how we can do that. I'm going to take my Versamark stamp pad again and the dots. And I'm just going to stamp some dots in the Versamark on the actual box, just in the 3 different places, like that. Okay, and while I've got this pad out, let's go ahead and do our sentiment also. So let me pull my pieces out for this card. And again, I've got a stitched rectangle, and I'm going to go ahead while I have my Versamark out and do our sentiment. Now, I used a different set for this. I used the Peaceful Moments, and I used Wishing You Every Happiness This Special Day Will Bring. So I've got that right here. Sometimes I feel like I'm always looking for the perfect sentiment for projects, right? And sometimes you got to go to a different stamp set. Doesn't mean you have to use that stamp set. Doesn't mean you have to use that sentiment. Use what you like. Use what you want. All right, so time to add some gold. So first to the sentiment. I think that one's ready. Okay, and then same thing to the box. Just adds a little bit of something to our box, right? And just the third area. Then we're going to get the heat tool out for all this. Okay. All right, I'm going to take, let me see if I can find, hold on one second. I'm looking for my little brush because I can see there's a little tiny bit. I just want to brush off right in the middle here so that doesn't ruin my lettering. Okay. And let me get out my little tool again to hold it. And we are ready to heat. So the color of cardstock I'm using for this is Cajun Craze, which is one of my favorite fall colors. And I think the gold looks really nice on the Cajun Craze. Okay, so that part's finished. And we'll bring our box in. Last piece. Okay, that's it. That's it for our heat embossing. We're done with that. I'm just going to peel off the Post-it tape and we're good on that. We can go ahead, it worked my box a little. Did you see that from the heat? But we can go ahead and start folding all the places where this is scored. I'm just going to burnish it with my tool, my bone folder, just to get nice crisp lines on everything. I love a box that's ready to assemble, right? Where they've done all the hard work for you, the measuring. It's just so easy. And again, so happy because these are free too, right? You can't complain about that. I think this one was free with a $50 order. And I think it's like a set of 8 boxes. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna take these little flaps up as well. And then we can take the adhesive off of them. And that just peels off nice and easily. Hold on, I feel like I've got powder everywhere now. Okay. See if I need your pick tool to kind of peel these off. I think I've got project for next week where I'm using the same boxes again. So the last chance to order from Celebration is the 31st, which is next week. And I think on the last day, I've got a couple more projects. I think the only thing I'm using from Celebration next week is this actual box set. Okay, so I'm gonna fold this back right now like this, just so I can get the base of this box sealed up. So I'm just gonna do my 4 corners here. I hope you can see this. And I'm just folding these in now that we took the peeled off the backing of these little glue tapes. Now I've got the bottom of the box assembled, right? Now the lid, I'm going to do the same thing and just tuck these on the inside. And that's it. Now our lid is ready to be closed and our box is good to go. Okay, so let me get out the goodies first of all. These look good, right? Our cinnamon rolls or honey buns, are those like a fall food? I think of it as a fall food. Okay, now we've got our package all ready to go, and we're going to start assembling the other pieces of this. So let's start out with some of that beautiful gold ribbon again. And I'm just going to tie some around the bottom of this. Now let's see, because sometimes I mess it up on the bottom. All right. And I'm just going to tie this off with a nice big bow on our box. This would be a really nice gift. I always think of teachers when I think of little gifts. How fun it would be to bring the teacher a gift like this, or somebody that you work with. It could be for anybody. You're going to someone's house as a little hostess gift when you get there. I love to give little gift boxes. Okay, so we're going to start by putting some of the leaves on. Now I cut one of the big leaves out of the gold. So this packet of this gold metallics paper has 3 different colors of the metallics in it, right? Actually, did you see what I did? I did this backwards. I did my embossing backwards, but that's okay. I don't think it matters. So it comes with gold, it comes with bronze, and it comes with copper. So, and then this was another little die cut that I cut out of the gold from the same set. And I'm just going to put that piece right here. I'm going to take a little Cajun craze leaf and put that one across here, and put one of the copper leaves across here, and then another copper leaf at the bottom, like this. And then we're ready to put the sentiment on that we've already embossed, and we'll pop that up. Okay, and we'll put that right like that. And then on the other side underneath the bow, I've just got 2 more leaves. I've got a large Cajun craze and a small gold, and we'll just put those on. And then I think we'll add just a couple of rhinestones just to make it a little bit fancier and add something to it. So just like that. And then let's add some more of these really pretty rhinestones, and we'll just kind of randomly add them. Let's see here, maybe another little one there. And let's do maybe 3 over here. Okay, really pretty gift for someone, right? Whoops. And delicious. I want to break into it right now and eat those. They look really good. All right, so let's look at the projects one more time that we made today. So a lot of birds, right? We did a lot of birds. We did kind of our summer card with our pretty colors. Then we did our spring card with our bluebirds that matched the DSP. Then we went to Christmas and did kind of a Christmas bird card. And then we had our little fall gift box. I hope you liked the projects tonight. I thought they were really fun to make, and they'll be nice gifts to give. If you would like the make and takes for these projects, you can order $35 or more, at my website, which is listed right here. If you order by Saturday the 27th and use this host code, I will send you the make and takes free with a $35 order. If you bump it up to $50, you can choose a celebration item, which is also awesome. Any questions, go ahead and email me. I want to show you what I have coming up for next week. I've got some really fun projects for next week. We're going to use a different set. So, excuse me. Let me pull those out really quick. I seem to be missing. There it is. And before I show you what we've got, let me just give you just a couple of really quick reminders, okay? If you want the measurement and supply sheet from this week's projects, just email me, and I'm at sunshineandsparklestamping@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to email you this measurement sheet that lists everything we used and the measurements for it. Reminder, Paper Pumpkin, if you would like to join Paper Pumpkin or order a Paper Pumpkin, this month's Paper Pumpkin is Spooky Treats, and that is going to be 18 treat boxes included in that. The Paper Pumpkin that I just got this week, that was from last month, I always like to show you guys this. I don't know, maybe it'd be fun to do one of these live one time, just so you can see how what comes in it and how they're assembled. But it always comes with everything you need to make cards. The first time you order, it comes with a Stampin' block. You get a stamp set. It's got all kinds of fun embellishments and pop-outs. You don't even need a pair of scissors. This last month, it came with 2 different dots, right? Stampin' dots. It came with soft suede and crushed curry. Here's a couple of the cards I put together last night from this set. And I think, gosh, this is just such a really pretty set. It's got the matching envelopes to go with it. So that's a really pretty card. I also looked at this card and I thought, wouldn't that be really pretty with a little bit of Mary Merlot behind it? You could just cut out the edges and then mount it on a Mary Merlot card and play with it that way. And then this is the 3rd card that it made from the set. So really beautiful. Paper Pumpkin's a great way to get started. It's a great way to do some nice, easy cards. Everything's included in it, so that's super fun. If you're interested, email me about that. And next week, I want to do the lighthouse cards, okay? So these are our projects for next week. We're going to play with the lighthouses. So I've got this one here, Sending You Love and Light. Your light shines brighter than you know. This one I cased from a card that I did before, so we have kind of a sunset view with a lighthouse on it. And then, like I said, we're going to use the same treat boxes from before, from this week, to do a little lighthouse project treat box next week. And for filling that next week's project, I got a bunch of saltwater taffy, because saltwater taffy just reminds me of the beach and lighthouses and summer. So those will be our projects for next week. I hope you can join me then. Thank you very, very much for joining me this week. And I hope everybody has a great week, rest of the week. Thanks. Talk to you later.